Good morning, everybody, on a lovely Wednesday morning. That's right, it is Wednesday. Andrea's down here in the kitchen. And what are you doing? She's making coffee. There was coffee in there already. Getting it. Okay, getting coffee, making a pizza, and doing a draft guide. And what else? That's about it. That's it. That's all she does. Anyway, good morning to Greg and to DK Lush and to Doug Boyle and to George. And welcome aboard, everybody, and to Kevin Hastings, to Timothy Myhook. If anybody wants to know why all of a sudden I get weird, even though it's not all of a sudden, it's at 9 o'clock, welcome aboard. You get that? Prior to that, it's just regular bullshit. White Sox Gal, good morning to you and all the guests that have joined us on a lovely Derek Jeter morning. And now we'll get to it, and I don't want to spend much time on the whole Hall of Fame thing. It was very nice, and of course Derek Jeter does deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. There are some people who think that I'm saying he's not. Yes, he is in the Hall of Fame, but he wasn't unanimous, okay? Was not unanimous. So Derek Jeter, who played in 2,747 career games, but played in just, listen to this is crazy. Derek Jeter played in just 4 games when the Yankees were already eliminated from playoff contention. And only one of those was at home, and that was late September 2014, his final home game, where he hit a walk-off single. Now, in terms of come on, man, it's not just home runs and batting average. The Yankees were 511 games, over 500 in games Derek Jeter played. He was the second position player in Major League Baseball history to be at least 500 games over in games where he played. The only other one was who? Who was the only other player to be 500 games over 500 in his career for the Yankees? I'm trying to wait till everybody gets here, but you never know. You just never know. On a Wednesday, anything can happen. All right. So who was the only other player? George. Good morning to George. Good morning to Ray. Good morning to Timothy, my hooker, and Doug Boyle. Who was the only other player to go 500 games over 500 in games that he played? There was only one other guy. It wasn't Pete Rose, okay? So, but here's the reason. Now, I'm getting to it. I'm just taking my slow petunia time to get to the answer as to why Jeter was not a unanimous choice, okay? So, and here it is, okay? I'm always taking the position on the Hall of Fame that it's something special to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. A Hall of Fame, great, okay? And maybe it should be a museum of the history of baseball, telling everything that happened. Who was Willie Mays? Okay, what happened to Mickey Mantle with his knees, and he taped them up before every game. He looked like a mummy, and then you got the Bonds, and you got the whole thing. But keep in mind, if you want to keep baseball history, baseball history is unlike any other sport. No, unlike any other sport. But when you consider that 23 voters out of 432 turned down Willie Mays in 1979, his first year of eligibility, 9 out of 415 didn't support Hank Aaron in 1982, 2016, when Ken Griffey Jr. established a new benchmark, he tallied 437 out of 440. So when you have Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, Sandy Koufax, Hank Aaron, Ted Williams, Mickey Mantle, Cy Young, Lou Gehrig was the other player who played 500 games over 500. I say that the first ballot should be something sacred. First ballot should be something sacred. And now here's what the problem is, okay? And here's the reason why Derek Jeter did not get a unanimous Hall of Fame vote. And it has to do, and the writer that didn't vote for Jeter, I don't blame him. because he probably takes the position, and I don't know who he is. If you saw, I put up something yesterday, but that was bogus. I fell for it. That was not true. The guy's name was not Williams or whatever I put up. That was bull. He didn't vote for Valverde, so he didn't do that. Had he done it, it would have been a problem. But here's the problem: when all the voters exposed their votes, it became very clear to me that Derek Jeter was officially in the Hall of Fame, unless they were going to take their votes back or unless it was a bogus report. So if the reports were transparent, there's that good word. If good morning to Zelmo, if the reports were correct, as Tito Luna would say, then it was easy to understand that Derek Jeter would be elected to the Hall of Fame. And at that point, if you take the same position that I take, that he shouldn't make it on the first ballot, or he shouldn't be a unanimous pick, which I think both should be sacred. First ballot should be sacred. Unanimous should be what's more than sacred. I mean, I don't even know. Okay? I don't blame him for not voting for Jeter. He knew he was going to get in, so his vote was inconsequential about that. No, that's not true. He didn't get a vote. Or maybe he did get a vote. Brad Penny. But I can understand. Now, if the votes were not transparent, and if he did, there's a chance that a lot of people may have thought that, and maybe, goodness gracious, if more people took that position and didn't vote for Jeter, it's possible that Jeter wouldn't have gotten in on the first ballot. He definitely deserves first ballot. And as I said yesterday, all of his playoff numbers and a lot of his numbers were as a result of him being a member of the New York Yankees. If he was on a team that didn't make the playoffs, then, whatever. Mo Rivera is not more than sacred. Give me a break. But the thing is that you can't take that away from Jeter because he played on the Yankees, same way you can't take away what Larry Walker did in Colorado. All right? So that's how I feel about all that. And so Jeter, I believe that the ballots for the Hall of Fame should be kept quiet until the Hall of Fame voting is over. Then everybody should put their ballots out there so people can see. Okay? That's how I feel. Larry Walker, who received only 15.5% of the vote in 2016, he's in there. Don't take the fact that played for Colorado away from him. It was a remarkable leap. Walker bottomed out at 10.2%, then made an unprecedented 20% plus leap in his final 2 years on the ballot. Good for the sports writers for recognizing it. Okay? He's the first Rockies player and the second Canadian. Bonds and Clemens crossed that 60% barrier, but they barely moved. Schilling is at 70% and looks like he will be inducted into the Hall of Fame next year. 20 votes shy of getting in. Landed at 70%. So there you go. Larry Walker made it by just 6 votes, by the way. Okay, 6 votes. And among the most intriguing, I'll call it a subplot, okay, was the ballot total for Billy Wagner. Now, he nearly doubled his support from 16 plus in 2019. He nearly doubled to 31.7 this year. One of the best closers in Major League history, and looks like Wagner's got a good chance to be in the Hall of Fame next year along with Schilling. Okay, so there you go. How about that one? That takes care of the Hall of Fame stuff. Today we're going to go over the Cincinnati Reds and see what the heck they're doing, okay? But before we do that, I know the Reds made a pitch for Marcell Ozuna, but the Cardinals, and this is fascinating. You got to really wonder what's going on with the Cardinals, because the Cardinals, one of the reasons I took Matt Carpenter was because I thought that Matt Carpenter could be traded to Colorado. I took Matt Carpenter in our slow draft in the reserve round, wondering, is Matt Carpenter going to be part of the deal that the Cardinals are going to make to get Nolan Arenado? So, that's how I think. The Cardinals made Marcell Ozuna a standard one-year qualifying offer of $17.8 million so that they can ensure a high draft choice if Ozuna signed with someone else. And sure enough, he has signed with the Atlanta Braves for 1 year at $18 million. So he turned down $17.8 million in order to get an $18 million. And as the Cardinals apparently did not come off of that qualifying figure very much, if anything. So in the 75 days or so since the offer was made. So they're now armed with another high pick, which will come shortly after the actual first round. And the Cardinals, look, even with Ozuna in the lineup, they seem to have needed another middle-of-the-lineup hitter. That's what it seemed like. And now without Ozuna, wow, you got to wonder. You really got to take the position that I don't know about the Cardinals this year. I really don't know. They have a $170 million payroll, which is pretty high for the Cardinals. So they now have another draft pick. And Ozuna, despite missing about 5 weeks with a finger injury, hit 29 homers, drove in 89 runs, and hit 241, for the Cardinals, Central Division champions. Central Division champs, and they didn't re-sign Ozuna. They got to be going after somebody, okay? And you got to so when you look at Ozuna and you see 29 homers and 89 RBIs, you're not remembering that he missed about 5 weeks with a finger injury. And when you say 5 weeks for a finger, for a wrist, for a hand, that likely translates into a little bit more, okay? So he helped turn back the Braves in the Cardinals' 5-game win. He went 9 for 21 in the division series. So, look, he had a sore shoulder in his first year, which later required surgery in 2018 when he hit 280 with 23 homers and 80-something RBIs. Excuse me. Pellegrino this morning. Ozuna's arm strength was sporadic last year. And he did mention many times that I recall that he expressed an interest in getting an extension from the Cardinals. He asked his agent to step up. I remember in July, not long after he jammed his finger in a head first slide to get back to first base. I remember the headlines in the Cardinal, Ozuna looking for an extension. Okay? So, look, Ozuna was torn between the Cardinals and the Texas Rangers, and Atlanta came back into the fold when they lost Josh Donaldson to the Minnesota Twins. So Atlanta being aggressive, internal candidates now to replace Ozuna, and I have become marginally in love with Harrison Bader. But Tyler O'Neill and Lane Thomas, both 24-year-old right-handed hitters. O'Neill had 5 homers and struck out 53 times in 141 at-bats. Lane Thomas suffered a broken bone in his hand. If you remember, late last season he had 4 homers in only 38 at-bats, and he batted .316. Okay? Then, of course, you got the switch hitter, Dylan Carlson, the organization's Player of the Year in 2019, who is likely to be a starting outfielder by the middle of the season, but he could wrest away that job in spring training. So Dylan Carlson, first-round pick in 2016 when he hit 26 homers and stole 20 bases. So keep in mind, right-handed hitting, Rangel Ravelo. He was a first baseman. He did well pinch hitting. So he's another candidate. Ravelo. And then you got a left-handed hitting outfielder, Justin Williams, who was hurt and didn't play a full season at Memphis. But none of these hitters